Hello everyone and welcome to this new episode of Shredo. Today we will see together the story of the hitchhiker, Norman Muscarello. Our story begins on September 3rd, 1965 in New Hampshire, USA. After spending the evening with his girlfriend, Norman Muscarello decides to go home. It is 2 a.m., he is a little tired, and so he decides to go home faster to make a hitchhike. But the hope of returning home will not last because it is very difficult at 0221 in the morning to get caught hitchhiking. So he is alone on the road and all of a sudden something incredible is going to happen. He will have a kind of glow, and often passing by this path, he knows that this glow is very abnormal. But even if he finds this light strange, he will tell himself that it is late and that he is surely tired. Not far from there, about 10 kilometers away, Constable Bertrand finishes his round and returns to the police station to make his report. During his report, he will explain that he ran into a woman on the low side of the road and that it took him about 1 for 4 hours to calm her down. This woman claimed to have been chased by an unidentified object with red lights, except that Bertrand and his colleagues don't believe it at all and will instead mention it as a joke about 8 kilometers from home. Norman will notice this strange light again. It distinguishes 5 lights that blink very accurately, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. While continuing to walk along the road, Norman will notice that this light will get closer. Since more panic, he is convinced that this light is coming for him. He will then turn around and start running. During his run, he will turn around and notice that the object is very close to him. He will then jump to prevent the object from hitting him. When he is on the ground, he will raise his head and see the object regain height and disappear behind the trees. He is really afraid for his life. He will then get up and at that moment will have headlights of a car. He then decides to stop the car at all costs and asks the man to take him directly to the nearest police station. Once he arrives at the police station, he will tell the facts to the police officer, who will accompany him to the scene. They will park at the exact place where the facts happened. Except that nothing happens and he has nothing in the century. Agent Bertrand is a former US Army pilot, so he's going to remain very skeptical. He's going to ask Norman many questions to make sure it's not a plane. But Norman Muscarello is formal, it is not a plane, and the object passed really very close to him. Despite everything, the police station will order the officer to search the area with Norman, but after several minutes of searching, the police officer will find nothing, so he will ask the police station if he can return. This is when the surrounding animals will start to move. The horses will howl, the dogs will bark, then the agent and Norman will decide to run towards the animals, and that's when they will see an object take off from the field and get closer to them. The object is getting closer and closer, and the agent will be able to distinguish its shape. He stated that the object was round and had a diameter of 12 meters. The equivalent of a barn. The officer, panicking, goes to them to draw his weapon and ask for backup. After several minutes, Agent Hunt arrives in turn, and even though he arrived at the time the object was leaving, he stated that the lights he saw did not resemble anything he had not known. In addition, Norman is convinced that it is the same object he saw earlier in the evening. The object, which gained height, left quickly towards the Hampton. The police have no means to follow him, so they decide to go back to the post. They're gonna decide to call the Hampton police station. He will tell them that many testimonies of unidentified objects have been reported. 2 of these witnesses are police officers, which makes their testimony very credible, and the object they are going to report eerily resembles what Norman and Constable Bertrand saw. As a result of these testimonies, the US Air Force will decide to make an investigation into this story and will call back all the witnesses to ask them questions despite all this investigation. Our media will never be able to prove that it was one of their planes. They will therefore declare the object as unidentified, and that's it for what it would have become. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to like and share this video. Was it Key Coin Fire?